blessings.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Interesting.
just I see the squirrel jumping around.
And what's that?
Yeah, but
Oh, beautiful.
because it's
Who's that?
they
This
have
is who? This is who? This is you?
Chumash and Rashi, the Torah portion, we repeat the Torah portion from last week because on Shabbos we read from Chol Hamoed Sukkos. So we're going back to Vezot Hab'rachah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let's go right to it. Vezot Hab'rachah, and this is the blessing Asher Beirach that he blessed Moses blessed Isha Lakima, a godly man, as Bnei Israel, the children of Israel, the Israelites, Moshe before his death. Rashi in chapter 33, verse 1. What page? You have the page? Yeah.
1354.
Yes.
1354. 1354.
Okay. Zayis Hab'rachah Lifnei Moshe. This is the blessing before his death. Samach L'Misosei Sheim Lo Yachshav Emosai. Because if he doesn't now give the blessings, when is he going to give the blessings? Right? This is the time. Huh? Yeah, this is the moment to give the blessings. Okay.
Moses died.
Verse number 2. Vayomer Hashem and Hashem said, Misinai ba, I came from Sinai. Vayomer, and he said, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah, Vayomer Hashem, you can read it. The God said, no, because Moshe is the one who's speaking. So Vayomer, he said, Hashem Misinai ba. God came from Sinai. V'zarach Miseir Lamai, and he Zarach, he shone, right? We had it in Chassidus this morning, Ezrach, right? He shone Miseir Lamai, he shone forth from Seir, Haifia Mehar Paran, and he appeared from Mount Paran. Asa Mirivais Kodesh, he came with myriads of holiness, Miminai, from his right side, Ashdais Lamai, and Ashdais is a fire of law. Das is law. Aish is fire. It's one word here, even though it's like means to be 2 words. It's written as 1 word, but it's means 2 words. Lamai that he presented. Okay, let's see Rashi. Lots over here. And you said, Hashem that Hashem came from Sinai. He commences with the praise of God. And then thereafter, with the needs of the Jewish people. And with the praise that he commenced, there's actually a mentioning of the praise of the Jewish people. All of this is a way to engender by God goodwill towards the Jewish people, the Israelites. That is, if to say that's to say that they are worthy, that the blessing should take effect upon them. That's what he is trying to accomplish, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why he said from Sinai, right? Meaning God expressed himself in Sinai. Well, who was there? The Jewish people. They accepted God, right? As well, we'll see further. And who didn't accept God? Not Esav and not Ishmael, the descendants of theirs, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it's going, right? Remember we learned this? Any memory here? Hello. Earth too, or heaven too. Okay.
Yeah, it says Zarach
okay.
That he asked Bnei
Yeah,
Esav.
exactly. Let's see. Yeah. I'll give the commentary. We are very short in time. You see, Naibal from Sinai, he came. So the cross him, he came towards to greet them. And when he came to stand bottom of the mountain, like a groom who goes out to greet the bride, Shenemar, the cross of Elohim towards God, Lamadnu, we learn from this, the guy went forth towards them, to the, right? We learned this last week. We just said that. Yeah. We said that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Zarach Meseir Lama, and he shone forth from Seir. Shepasach Livnei Esav. He proposed to the children of Esav. Shekablu Torah, that they should accept the Torah. I think it means here the Torah doesn't mean that they should go out of Egypt and they should bench lulav and esrog, because they have no connection to that at all. But they should accept the 7 Noachide laws, and as there, and they didn't want to. Right? Said, don't kill. What do you mean don't kill? Well, that's how we make our livelihood. He appeared lahem to them, Harparan from Mount Paran, Shahalach Sham, that he went there, apostle of Ishmael, and he proposed to the children of Ishmael, she kablua, that she accept the laws, and they didn't want either. But also, then he came to Israel, to the Jewish people. How did he come? With myriads of holy. Imai with him. Mixas Ribos Malachi Kaidish. There is a part of the myriads of angels of the holy, but not all of them, not most of them, not like most people are of flesh and blood. Then he displays his glory and his wealth and splendor on the day of his wedding. On the day of the wedding, if you are you're the prince, right, getting married, well, the king or the prince is going to show his great wealth and glory, to show how great he is, right? That's how human beings do. But God, no, he only showed part of his glory, right? Only some of the angels came with right? That's his mem before means from the myriads of holy, not all of it.
Not even most of it.
Not even most of it. Ejdas, a fire, a law that refers to the Torah, because it was written, the Torah was already there before it was given to the Jewish people. How was it? It was on black fire on white fire, right? Just like black ink on white parchment. So in heaven it was black fire on white fire. And he gave them the tablets because of all Yad Yaminai, and they were written with his right hand. That's one explanation. Alternative explanation. What do these words mean? That it means, according to Unkelis's translation, that he explains that it was given within the fire. Right, there was a fire on the mountain when he gave the law. Okay, next. Sorry, we got a truck over here because we will not have enough time anyways to finish, but let's do as much as we can. Indeed, chayvev in verse number 3. Indeed, or also, chayvev amim, he showed love to the nations, kol kadesha bi'adecha, all of the holy ones in your hands, ve'heim tapru l'raglecha, and they were brought to your feet, and they would bear your utterances. Now, what does it mean here, people? That he loved his people? Let's see. Rashi will explain. Right? He also loved, showed love to the people. Gamchi b'Yisera, also intense endearment. The people means the tribes. Doesn't mean the nations of the world. It means the tribes, according to this explanation. Kol echad ve'echan, each and every single tribe, Kori Am, is called a nation. Because we see that by Binyamin alone, that he would be destined to be born. When Hashem said to Yaakov, "Goy v'kol goyim mimcha," that a nation and congregation of nations shall descend from you. Right? He already had 11 sons. The 12th wasn't yet born, but God said that they're going to be a nation that will come from you, meaning still come from you in the future, and that was only Binyamin. So we see that a tribe is referred to as a nation. Right? According to this explanation, it doesn't mean nations of the world. All of the holy ones are in your hands, and Pashas Tzadikim, those are the righteous souls, that are stored away with God, Kinyan Shenemar, as it says in the verse, that may the soul of my master be bound up in Tzrura Chaim, in the bond of light, as Hashem Elokecha, with Hashem your God. Heim tuku l'raglecha, heim tuku l'raglecha, they were brought to your feet. Heim eluim lekach, that they were fit for this. Tichvu atmam, because they brought themselves in l'teich tachti sahar to the underside of the mountain, meaning at your feet, right on the right. There's on Mount Sinai. They came at the bottom of the mountain by the underside of the mountain, right? So that's what it means at God's feet. The Sinai at Sinai. Tuko Lashem Pa'ula. Tuko is a form of they were acted upon. That they were centered at the location of your feet. Okay. Continuing in Rashi. Hem tuko l'raglecha. We just did, sorry. Yisa medaber that they would bear your utterance. Nasu aleim, they bore upon themselves. Ol Torah, the yoke of your Torah. Continuing, midaber secha, your utterances. Hamem hu boy karvli say. The mem over here is part of the essential part of the word and other part of the root of the word. Like we have, and he heard the voice communicating with him, right? He's just giving the examples. This word medaber secha too means over here masha ha'isa medaber, that he would speak lahashmienu, to let someone hear, lemor lahem, that it should be said to them, meaning to the Jewish people. In an old French, ted pour parler dur. Onkeles here again. Onkeles, on the other hand, explains if Shayu Noisim that they would travel up even the in accordance to your words. And the mem here is not is a prefix as opposed to being an integral part of the word. Shamesh is lashon mean, it means from. Right? Mem before a word, if it's a prefix, it means from. That's a second explanation. So it means the way, according to the way you would travel. And a third explanation, what does it mean? That alternative explanation of the entire verse, right? What does it mean? That even at a time the endearment God towards the nations of the world, that he showed to the nation. So he's going back on the verse. Remember, we said that this was the word Ami meant what? Tribes, the 12 tribes, right? Mm-hmm. Here he says, no, an alternative explanation. It means nations of the world. The God showed them endearment, smiling countenance towards them. And he delivered Israel into their hands. Nevertheless, all the holy ones are in your hands. That is called a tzaddikim teveim, all of the righteous ones and the good ones. They cleave to you, and they did not move away from going after you, and you protected them. In other words, it's speaking about the endearment that God showed to the nations, and he gave the Jewish people in the hands of the nations, yet the righteous did not move away from God. And they were brought to your feet, then they center themselves in miskantim, and they gather together under your shade. It's not speaking about the mountain, right? This is based on the alternative explanation that they are still under the shade of God, even though the nations would inflict upon them. And they would bear the utterance, so now this is going again according to this alternative explanation that they accepted decrees, the dascha, and your edicts, with joy. And these are the words of, this is what they would say. What is that? The Torah Moshe commanded us is a legacy of the assembly of Yaakov. Rashi, Torah, the Moshe commanded us, it is a heritage of Yaakov to the congregation of Jacob, hold on to it, and that we will not abandon it. V'hi bishur melech. Sorry, and there became a king in Yeshurun. V'isasei v'rashiyam, when the numbers of the nation would gather, Yachad Shifte Israel, the tribes of Israel in unity. Rashi, and it became Kodesh Baruch Hu, and he became, who became? God became. Yeshua Melech, he became a king over Yeshurun, Talmid Al Malchus Lehem, that the yoke of God's rulership is constantly over the Jewish people. Bisasev, when the numbers of the nation are gathered, Chol Bisasev, any gathering together, the sum of the calculation of their gathering of the individuals who are counted in their gathering. I don't know what the point there is exactly. Okay, let's see further. Rosh, the numbers literally means a heads up. Like it says that you should take a census, means here that you take a head count. They're fitting that I should bless them. Alternative explanation, what does it mean that the numbers of the nations are gathered? It means when they gather together, in a single group, and there's priests among them, whom Malcolm, that's when God is their king. But not when there's discord among them. Wow. Gotta make sure no discord amongst the Jewish people. Okay. Verse 6. Yechi Ruvain, now we're coming to the blessing to Ruvain. Ruvain shall live. May Ruvain live. Al Yamos and shall die. Of Mispar, and may his men be in account. Rashi, Yechi Ruvain, may Ruvain live by in this world. Below Yamos, and he should not die in the world to come. Meaning that the incident that he had with Bilhah and the couch that was of Yaakov that was put into Bilhah's tent rather than to Leah's tent after Rachel passed away should not be remembered for him. Vehim also Mispar, and may his men be in account. They should be counted with the rest of his brothers. This is something similar to Indian Shanamar, as it says, the Hebrew Yaakov Shnei Masar. That he lay with Bilhah and his sons were 12, that he was not excluded from the count because of his sin. Wow. Okay, last verse. Yehuda, and this is to Judah, to Yehuda. Right? What is that? And he said, Shema Hashem, listen Hashem, call Yehuda, to the voice of Yehuda, ve'alamai, and to his people, meaning his tribe, Tivienu Yadav Rav Loi ve'ezer mitzorav tihiyeh. So then, and that may his hand fight for him, and may you be a helper against his enemies. Rashi in number 7. Yehuda, this is to Yehuda, Somach Yehuda Ruvain. He juxtaposed Yehuda to Ruvain, even though he's the fourth born, right? He's the fourth born. Why is he coming second? Because both of them confess al kilkul shebiyadam on the corrupt act that was in their hand. Then they took full responsibility. Shenema, as it said, Asher Chacham Yagidu, that a wise declared Leim Levadam to them alone. Loy Avad Zar B'Seicham, and no stranger should pass between them. And they both, right? Yehuda accepted responsibility what he did with Tamar, and Reuven did. So they both confessed. In other words, they took responsibility. Took total responsibility. That's why they are juxtaposed to each other, right? And because he's coming here to bless them, but also he's rebuking them at the same time for anything rebuke that there needs to be, and they took full responsibility. Therefore, they come 1 and 2. Further, our rabbis explain, the entire 40 years of the Jewish people were in the wilderness and the desert. The bones of Yehuda were rolling around in the casket because he took upon himself to be banished. Because he took that upon himself, as it says, says, I have sinned to my father for all time. Amar Moshe said, who caused Ruvain that he should confess? Yehuda. It was Yehuda. So that's another reason why it's juxtaposed, because Yehuda, his story happened earlier. He took full responsibility for what he did. And as a result, Reuven took heed of that, and therefore he himself also confessed. Shema Hashem called Yehuda. Listen Hashem to the voice of Yehuda. What does that mean? Tfilas David. That's the prayer of King David, of Shlomo and Shlomo, Solomon. Also Mipnei Hakushim, and also when he prayed because of the Kushi, Yishafa Mipnei Ha'amonim, and Yishafa because of the Ammonites, Cheskel Mipnei Sancherev, Cheskel because he prayed Sancherev, and they all come. In other words, it says, listen to their voice of Yehuda. They all are descendants of Yehuda. Yes. And to his nation you shall bring him l'shalom in peace, from war, Yod of Ravloi, and his hands fight for him. Your Rivai may fight his fight, take up on his cause, and avenge his vengeance. The A's and Mitzarati, and may his helper against, may be God be a helper against his enemies. This is a prayer for Yeshaphat. The war that was in Ramoth Gilad, which it says, Yeshaphat cried out, and Hashem helped him. Alternative explanation. Shema Hashem called Yehuda. Listen Hashem to the voice of Yehuda, which implies Kan Ramaz Bracha l'Shimon. This is alluding for the blessing of Shimon. Shimon was the second oldest, and he's not mentioned at all. So, according to this explanation, it's hinting to Shimon. How? Because it's hidden within the blessing of Yehuda, and when they appropriated the land of Israel, Shimon took a piece of land from the lot of Yehuda, as the verse says. As the verse says in the book of Joshua, from the portion of the children of Yehuda was the heritage, the portion of the children of Shimon. Why did Moshe not designate a blessing specifically for him? He's only hinted to over here. Because he had hard feelings towards him in his heart. Amasha also b'Shittim, what he did in Shittim, King Kosev Agadah, so it's written in Agadah. Now the Shittim is when they sinned with the Midianite women, and so he took that and was still upset with them.